Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:35. And Collective Soul with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Rainy day today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 41. It is, but Saturday's looking 53 for a high, which is crazy.
That is unbelievable.
36 right now in downtown Springfield.
Oh, man, what a show today. Are you kidding? Jam-packed.
Really? I didn't get that memo.
Well, I mean, it's not to say it's all thought out. I mean, It's just, it's gonna cook it on its own.
Well, we got stuff. Don't you
Sure
worry
we do.
about it. Yeah.
Of course. And in fact, we'll even tell you about some big event that's coming up. Give you a little tease about what's around the bend.
What's around the bend and what's in the road now up in Holyoke. There is a cone in that very pothole. After 3 days, or actually probably 4 days, somebody finally put a cone in there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that.
And Holyoke has you to thank. So
They should name it the Steve Nagle Memorial Pothole because I was the one that brought the attention to it. I'm sure Town Fair Tire and anywhere other tire place did too.
Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Caller.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:50, and Eric Clapton with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
But he liked cocaine.
Yes.
She might not have liked cocaine, but he loved cocaine.
How much did he like the cocaine, Steve?
You know what the difference is between a toddler and a bag of cocaine?
No.
Eric Clapton wouldn't let a bag of cocaine fall out of a window. That's a good start to the day, huh? What do you say?
Still one of the great Mark from West Springfield jokes.
Who's that guy?
I have no idea.
Hollywood.
Hollywood Trash is brought to you by the Western Mass Masons. Call them for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So, from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
There's a sad way to start today. We lost one of the greats. Michelle Trachtenberg passed away yesterday.
Tough loss.
From Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Gossip Girl, was found dead by her mother at her home in New York City yesterday morning. She was only 39. No word on the cause of death, but sources say she underwent a liver transplant within the past year, and there's all kinds of speculation that her body rejected it. Again, no word on what caused her to need the procedure. Michelle never revealed any health issues, but fans had commented some of her more recent selfies that she didn't look well. Well, not everybody's a medical doctor just by looking at somebody either.
No.
But Michelle would just call them haters, and she said she was happy and healthy. Her boyfriend, a talent agency named Jay Cohen, actually answered the door for a reporter yesterday, but he told him the family had no comment. Michelle got her start on Nickelodeon's Adventures of Pete and Harriet the Spy before landing the role of Buffy's little sister, Dawn, on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Then she played the recurring role of Georgina Sparks on Gossip Girl. She made her final on-screen appearance in 2 episodes of the Max reboot in 2023. Tributes are pouring in from friends and co-stars. Rosie O'Donnell, who starred with her in Harriet the Spy, made an interesting comment. I loved her very much. She struggled the last few years. I wish I could have helped.
Very sad.
Is Rosie O'Donnell the Kurt Schilling of announcing deaths?
I don't think she just Tim Wakefield, this poor woman.
We also lost one of the greats. Legendary actor Gene Hackman has died. Police in Santa Fe, New Mexico, confirmed last night that the bodies of Gene, his wife Betsy, and their dog had been found inside their home yesterday. No foul play is suspected, and no cause of death has been announced. Gene just turned 95 last month. He won Oscars for The French Connection in 1972 and Unforgiven in 1993.
One of my favorite actors. I love Gene Hackman.
He used to lay it down pretty good.
I can't believe you didn't realize that Gene Hackman was the blind guy in Young Frankenstein.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that. Most of the time I watched that, I was high, so, you know.
Yeah, well, to sober up for that scene, because that's one of the highlights of the whole movie.
The next thing you're going to tell me was Marty Feldman was Igor.
Steve, Marty Feldman was Igor.
What?
I know.
I thought his name was Abby something.
No.
Abby...
Hans Delbruck.
Normal. Will Smith. During a Latin Music Awards ceremony last week, Will and Indina Martinez performed their new song, First Love.
Who did he punch out this time?
Nobody. During that performance, it looked like they actually kissed. Both Will and India, her name is India, I believe, posted the video to their Instagram pages. According to People magazine, it was all part of the performance, and it wasn't even a real kiss. Oh, just like it wasn't a real slap at the Oscars.
No, that was a real slap. That left a mark on Chris Rock's face.
But the internet is wondering if Will went a little too far. One person said, quote, "I was waiting for Jada to come out from the left stage and smack the crap out of her for kissing her man."
Keep your tongue out of my husband's mouth.
Actually, I would have expected Jada to come out and find out if this lady has any sons she can hang out with. Hey, do you have any sons I can sleep with?
Not to aggressively take any aggressions out, but I'm just wondering, do you need a babysitter?
What about your son's friends? How about that? Can I do that?
Do you live near a school?
Yeah. Yeah, how far away are you in a proximity to a high school? Another added quote, just say it was an entanglement. That's what a reference to Jada called her extramarital fling with rapper August Alsina.
Mm-hmm.
She gets around that gal.
She does.
But they don't seem to mind. He seems to be like, you know.
There's some weird things going on in that relationship.
It's like Jada Pinkett is Will Smith's Airbnb, and he just lends her out on the weekends.
Actually, I don't think he's in charge of the rent of that space.
She is in charge of her own temple.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's one of those Airbnbs that looks nice in the pictures, but once you get there, it's just a closed up Arby's. Where's all this horsey sauce come from? Who was eating that much horsey sauce? Who?
It's a lot of roast beef in that Airbnb.
Yeah. Millie Bobby Brown just turned 21, and she's gone through a bit of a transformation. She's a platinum blonde now, and she's been serving some very sexy, glamorous looks on Insta. Maybe that's Instagram for you people who don't know what I was saying there.
Or for those people that can't complete words.
Maybe she's just living her best life, but some people think there's an end game to all this, the Britney Spears biopic, which we've never figured out which one it is.
Well,
is it biopic?
I think it's a biopic, yes.
All right. There's talk online that she's either preparing for the role or maybe just trying to show the suits in Hollywood that she deserves it. A movie based on Britney's memoir, The Woman in Me, is in the works, and Millie has spoken in the past about possibly playing the lead. She said, quote, "I would love nothing more than to be part of her story. But that's her story, and I'm in full support of bringing her story to life however she wants to." Is she? She's not related to. She's not related to Bobby Brown at all, right?
I don't believe they're from the same lineage.
Well, I mean, it's not even of the lineage part. I mean, there could be there was an adoption along the. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't think
works.
there's any real connection.
Usually, people don't have the same names in Hollywood, though.
That's why she goes by Millie.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
All right.
She's not going by Bobby Brown. It's Millie Bobby Brown.
I
would have been perfectly fine with Millie Brown.
If you had to create the Mount Rushmore of grunge music, which bands would you choose?
Is that really a thing?
Yeah, they're saying Nirvana is George Washington.
Uh-huh.
Soundgarden is Thomas Jefferson.
Right.
Pearl Jam is Theodore Roosevelt. Alice in Chains is Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
I don't know.
That was time well spent.
Well, I just wanted to get us to the end.
No, I got it.
So we could get the Kim thing, which
filler.
I need to pull up here because I didn't. There we go. You ready?
Yes.
Kim Kardashian had the stomach flu yesterday and was choking up all kinds of things.
Oh, she was had something to say.
Oh my God! The last time I coughed up this much gunk was when Ray J did some uvula boxing with the gravy spigot and that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95.
Caitlin?
Well, I never got that down and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but I once did a duodenum punch in the corn port. You ever do that one?
No.
I gave her divertongulitis. Divertongulitis.
Got to stay away from the seeds.
Oh, yeah, you do.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is I stretched that knicker beef out so much I used my pube cumber. You ever stretch the knicker beef out with your pube cumber?
No, I have not.
Somebody online said, you just need to stop this. It will never stop. And that's your Hollywood Trash at Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, when the day comes that I can retire from this godforsaken business approximately 2,390 days away from today, rest assured that it would take a Vatican-certified miracle to convince me to stay on the job. Additionally, it would take the same act of divine intervention to convince me to come back. So let me dash those upcoming rumors of my triumphant return ahead of time. Once I'm out, I'm quite sure it's going to stay that way. Recently, there's been a slowly swirling pool of rumor-mongering, insinuation, and speculation that former Patriots great Rob Gronkowski had been considering abandoning his lucrative broadcast career with Fox Sports to sign with the Denver Broncos to resume his almost certain Hall of Fame football career, which, by the way, ended nearly 4 years ago. According to these rumors, Gronk was considering a return to football due to his admiration for Broncos quarterback Bo Nix and his personal friendship with head coach Sean Payton. Well, as it turns out, none of these rumors were true. Gronk is not only not coming out of retirement, he's certainly not going to play for the Denver Broncos. According to Gronk, quote, "They must know something about me that I don't. I wish I still had those powers because it would be cool if I did, but I was just in Australia for a few days and it's time to relax a little. No football." You see, folks, not everybody, including myself, wants to resume the punishing schedule, the rigorous training, and the physical and mental exhaustion of making you people happy day after day. Would I want to get back to work after being retired for the last 4 years? I wasn't entirely sure I want to come back after a 5-day long vacation. Granted, Gronk at 35 years old is 23 years younger than I am, but I'm pretty sure he's kind of feeling the same way that I do. Football was fun, but he's not likely to blow out his knees or go into concussion protocol during the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show or during the halftime coverage, even with Terry Bradshaw appearing to throw off the curve. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Your furnace has been working overtime all winter long. Time to change those nasty, filthy filters. Go to Rocky's right now for basic pleated air filters. Buy 3, get 1 free. And if the mice are moving into your house, it's time to get them out of there. Mouse traps are on sale at Rocky's too. The stuff you need around the house is available today at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield's
102 Springfield's Classic Rock at 612 and Skinnerd with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be rainy today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 41. But Saturday, looking at 53. And then we go back into the 20s on Sunday.
Perfect. I wouldn't want great weather for more than a day at a time.
That just creates frost heaves, so we can get more potholes throughout western Massachusetts.
Yeah, but you were telling me some very exciting news when you got in here this morning.
All right, so let me just start what happened earlier in the week. Tuesday, I'm on my way to work, and I hit a pothole on Homestead Avenue, right by the Amazon facility there.
But more than a pothole, this is like a hole to the center of the earth type of thing.
Yeah, journey to the center of the earth.
Yeah.
And then I came right back. I popped right back up. But as soon as I hit that hole, then my tire light came on, and I'm clear, and I could feel it. I'm like, okay, well, this thing is flat now. So I got to the intersection and I pulled into Holyoke Pediatrics, and I waited for AAA to come, and Barry, my capeless hero, drove me to work.
Put on his super sandals and was ready to go.
So I'm like, okay, well, I need to let everybody know about this thing because this is one of those monster nom, 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 nom. And the tow truck guy, Dario from AAA,
yeah,
he said, you're like the third person now within the last 12 hours that has hit that pothole, and I've had to tow them. Okay, well, then so then we were talking about maybe the DPW should go out there and put a cone out there, denoting that there is some sort of major pothole.
People need to know.
Yeah, and I don't know. There was a report that there was a cone, and then there wasn't a cone. I don't know if somebody stole the cone or, it's not an ice cream cone. You can't take that home with you.
No.
And, people were talking about how the guy yesterday was saying he lives near there and it's still there. And obviously, it's that time of year where you can't quite fill those potholes even temporarily because of all the water that's running off. And that's what's causing a lot of that is the freezing of the water and then the unfreezing and yada, yada, yada. But at least put a cone there. And it didn't seem like anybody wanted to put a cone up there at all. And yesterday, I get two things. Meatloaf from Interstate Towing. Meatloaf.
Okay.
He posts on my Facebook wall, hey, look, it's even showing on Waze that there's a big pothole ahead. And I said, is there a cone there? And he goes, no, I'm actually here picking up a car that just hit it. And then somebody tags me in the Holyoke community forum, which I don't know. I don't know if I can pull it up here. Well, it doesn't really matter. It was a woman talking about how she hit it, and then she tried to warn, like her manager or somebody who was behind her.
Yeah.
Not too far behind her, but he hit it as well.
So like two cars back to back.
Yeah. It's crazy how this thing was just swallowing up vehicles. Yet, no cone. Not even no cone. This morning, I drive down, and of course, the speed limit's 30.
Yeah.
There's a sign there that says 30. I think that's a dare, actually. That's
it's like a challenge.
Hey, let's see how fast you can you get up to 30 miles an hour on this stretch of road? I don't think you can. That's actually more effective than the 2 speed bumps they put in and took out within 6 months of each other.
Because it slows down everybody.
Because it was a safety issue.
Sure.
Can you imagine that?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And so I get up to it, and the cone, there's now a cone there, but the cone is flipped over. It's like on its side.
Really? Like somebody hit the cone?
You know what I think? I think a lot of it is people like on their phones, not paying attention to what's in front of them.
If a cone is in front of you, it's usually a pretty good indication. Get the hell out the way.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're on your telephone and you're watching TikToks or something like that while you're driving, which
then
I've
I
seen
can't
a
be
lot
helped,
of people
yeah.
do, then the cone gets hit as well. But I don't know why it took so long to get that cone in there. And frankly, I'm making a big request here. It needs a barrel. Like, that's how big this hole is.
Steve, I mean, come on. You got the cone. Can't you just be happy with that?
No.
You want a cone and a barrel? Let me guess. You probably want some orange painted horses out there too, right?
Actually, that wouldn't be a bad idea for that particular hole.
Uh-huh.
Why can't we? Don't we have an extra horsey? One of those orange horsies, orange and white horsies.
Maybe with a flashing light attached to it.
Maybe with a slot that you can put a quarter in and ride it while you're pretending like you're in the old days of Holyoke.
I wasn't talking about those kinds of horses. I was talking about like the wood horses.
But at least there is a cone there now.
Okay.
At this point, but I mean,
but would that cone have been there had it not been for your own persistence?
Well, I'm kind of labeling myself as the traffic cone hero.
You go from like being a cake czar to the traffic cone hero. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot going on in that resume right now.
It is a lot going on, but that's who I am. I you know what? I put things out in the universe, and they automatically appear. Now, sometimes it takes 4 days, but they automatically appear.
Now, yesterday, when that guy called and said, "Yeah, there's a cone out there right now," and it's been there all morning, and you said not when you drove past it,
right?
Part of me thought, is it possible that there is like a spate of cone thieves?
There could,
riding through the streets of Holyoke just to cause agitation for passing motorists.
There could very well be like a cone ring going on.
Yeah, like there's some warehouse just like loaded with cones that have been pinched all over the place.
Well, listen, if you're on Facebook Marketplace and you see some guy say, "Hey, I got traffic cones, $5 a piece," that might be an indicator that somebody's picking up the traffic cones. But at least there was a cone there, even though that the cone was not in upright position. But that's not the DPW's fault. That's somebody who hit it. Yes, I know. I can see that.
You saw that too? Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. Yeah.
Somebody photoshopped Dave Coombs on the traffic cone. I got a buddy who's into deep holes. Namely me. But again,
What's your favorite broken axle story?
I don't know why it took so long to cover that up. And again, it's not just one of these like an inch or two deep. It's about 8 inches deep. It's a hole in the ground.
I can't for the life of me imagine, why there's not something to prevent traffic from going over it. I mean, there must be enough people complaining about it. I mean, if you get three people in 12 hours, destroying their tires because of this pothole, you would think that somebody in Holyoke has been alerted to it.
Maybe it was my offer of the box of Joe. I said yesterday, I'll buy the DPW a box of Joe if they put a cone there, but that didn't happen within the time frame, so that you don't get the box of Joe.
Get your own box of Joe.
But I mentioned that on Facebook, and some lady said, why don't you offer them $20 dinner and a comedy show? That might get them to go out there. And I'm like, yeah, it's one guy eating a meal while 5 guys sit around him and watch him eat it.
One guy, 5 guys, sitting around a guy while he laughs while the other ones ignore him and are on their phones.
And they've all pooled their money together at $4 a piece to watch that one guy eat the meal. But just be careful out there because it is pothole season and you're going to get you don't want to be paying for expensive tire repair.
No, you don't. But if you do, you know where to go.
Especially with the electric bills being so high as they are right now.
How can you afford both? Tires aren't cheap.
Well, maybe they figure because Holyoke has its own municipal electric company that people aren't paying the high rates that the rest of the Commonwealth is.
Right,
but with the EverSource.
But if I may make a suggestion to the paper city of Holyoke.
Yeah.
Mind your holes.
That's why. The road is made out of paper. That's why it's got so many holes in it.
That's right. Mind your holes, Holyoke.
It's made of the paper city. If it was the gold city, we wouldn't have these problems.
No, there's no reason why that street is putting the hole in Holyoke.
Yeah, there is no reason why it should be like that. I mean, there seems to be... And I'm sure that's not the only pothole that they've had to deal with. I've heard Northampton Street's pretty banged up, too.
Which is why I said yesterday, it's like, if it's taken them this long to acknowledge this pothole, because they're prioritizing the other ones, how bad must the other ones be?
Well, yeah, but how many times does a car have to get... How bad does it have to be? How many cars have to get, damaged before... Okay, maybe we should go put a cone over that one.
You wouldn't think it would take that many, but apparently it does.
And again, I'm not besmirching the good folks who work at the Holyoke DPW, but come on. It's a drive-by in that truck. The guy throws a cone out there. That's all you got to do. Listen, you don't even have to get off the truck.
Those dudes are doing their jobs, but someone is telling them which holes to attend to.
Yeah, it's the boss.
It's the boss.
Whoever
that's dragging the city down.
Yeah, and the boss is probably sitting there with his feet up on the desk going, yep, I think there's some potholes out there.
It's 6:23 on Rock 102.
The sun's out.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:29, and Lenny Kravitz with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
The forecast, because Dan Brown a little late to the game this morning, but that's okay.
That's okay.
We'll give him a pass. Going to be rainy today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 41. It's 37 right now in downtown Springfield. Do you want to laugh?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, all right.
Yeah, sure.
Wait
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
On Rock 102.
I make you laugh.
Springfield's Classic Rock.
What is the female equivalent of teabagging called?
I don't know, Steve. What's the female equivalent of teabagging called?
A flappuccino. I don't even know what that means. I'm just... Is that something you can get at Starbucks? Yeah. Is that the bean flicker at Starbucks can make you a flappuccino? That's what I want to see.
Bax and Nagle in the morning on Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
6:32 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Yankee Home Improvement. Breaking news, homeowners save big on windows and showers. Call Yankee Home by today and don't miss out. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. 2 individuals have been arrested and charged on Tuesday in connection with a series of organized retail thefts across the region. Connecticut State Police said that in April of 2024, a detective with the statewide Organized Crime Investigative Task Force, otherwise known as
The Nagle,
was alerted about a series of thefts occurring across New England. The investigator said that a man and a woman were connected to those thefts. Using law enforcement records, surveillance footage, and images, the investigator was able to identify one of the individuals as 39-year-old David Pasquarillo of North Haven. The footage showed that Pasquarillo would enter a department store while his accomplice waited in a silver Honda Accord. He would allegedly grab various items in the store and exit within minutes. Detectives also discovered that Pasquarillo frequently changed his clothing and the license plate on his vehicle to evade law enforcement. On Tuesday, NAMBLA detectives were alerted that Pasquarillo was at a home supply store in North Haven. He was at a Home Depot. Why don't they just say that?
well, it could have been a Lowe's, too.
No, it was a Home Depot. Because
More orange than blue?
The other story said Home Depot.
Oh, I see.
Footage showed him exiting the store with 8 boxes of electrical outlets. The what? The holes. Connecticut State Police and New Haven police officers located the vehicle involved and initiated a traffic stop. The passenger was confirmed as Pasquarillo, and the driver was identified as 40-year-old Eileen Johnson of Guilford. Both suspects were arrested, and detectives retrieved the stolen items from the back seat of the vehicle, as well as drug paraphernalia that was in plain view. Pasquarillo was revealed to have multiple court-issued warrants for his arrest due to violations of his probation. He was also identified in over 200 documented theft or attempted theft incidents across New England, including the Springfield area, with the value of stolen merchandise exceeding $365,000.
Wow. You know, I know you've been heading the Steve Nagle College of Criminal Knowledge for a long time, and you would and you know here's a guy that he has a long history of thievery, and you would think that after all this time, that the idea of changing the license plates, changing the clothing, all these things show that he has progressed.
Yeah,
a little bit in all this.
Smarten up a little bit.
But he hasn't smartened up so much where there's not a list of 200 other incidents of him stealing stuff.
Well,
even the best laid plan is never the most perfect plan. And that's what I'm getting at.
You know what it is? You get greedy.
Yeah.
You get so greedy and then you slip up. Speaking of changing out license plates, I saw a TikTok video the other day of this guy driving under the Easy Pass thing.
Yeah.
And it was whoever was in the passenger seat of the car taking the video was like, look at this. And as they're driving along, a little shade comes over the license plate in the back before they go under the Easy Pass thing. So when the camera takes the picture, it can't say who the license plate belongs to.
Wow. So the guy was able to save a full $1.58?
Well, I mean, those tolls can get costly.
I suppose. Is this is this like an attachment that goes to the plate, or
it looked like an elaborate license plate frame, and the frame has a little garage door thing on it that obviously is controlled remotely, so you can push the button and let the shade. It's like a shade almost. The shade goes down over the license plate.
That's crafty.
But I'm thinking, how much was that as opposed to how much the toll was?
Well, it's like you said, those tolls add up. I mean, if you're going from Stockbridge to Boston, I mean that's that's a healthy fee.
But how much is one of these contraptions? That's what I would want to know.
Yeah, but if you're on the pike all the time, it practically pays for itself.
Does it?
Well, let's say it costs you $100.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a fair price, $100. Well, if you're traveling the pike all the time, you could spend $100 in a year.
Yeah, you could easily spend $100.
So after that year, all of a sudden that thing's working for free.
Maybe it's like the idea of joining an Elks Club. In the long run, the membership fee is going to outweigh how much you spend on cheap drinks.
Right. So in the long run, you're actually saving cash as opposed to the immediate outlay of capital to get to that point.
It's something
economically. It makes all the sense in the world.
I also saw years ago that spray that you can put on your license plate that will it won't so if when the camera takes the picture of the license plate, it just shows like a big giant light mark in the camera. I wonder if that still works. I wonder if the cameras have superseded that.
I don't know, but it takes a long time for things to start changing around the state of Massachusetts. You know how long it takes to make a decision on anything.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think they're going to upgrade anything anytime soon, as far as camera technology goes. It's something residents can count on every year. This time in New England, pothole season.
What?
Wabbit season. It's pothole season. It's wabbit season. The weather conditions have been causing potholes to show up all over. If you've been driving anywhere in western Massachusetts over the last couple of weeks, chances are you've probably had to avoid or maybe even hit a pothole. I fell victim to one the other day, as I was telling you earlier. Now, the next story after this, it says, Holyoke plans new signs to improve downtown navigation. How about one that denotes a pothole that's swallowing cars on Homestead Avenue? Did you ever think about that?
Again, they had to prioritize their issues, and you have to think that as bad as that pothole is, there's a couple others in town maybe worse.
The city of Holyoke is working to update its city-owned signs. This is the city's latest effort to make downtown easier to navigate for residents. Out is that way. Is that the arrow?
Can't they just leave the signs up during the road race?
Yeah. What are you doing down here? That's what the signs say.
Parade route this way.
Yeah. The Wayfinding Signage Plan initiative is being spearheaded by the city's Office of Planning and Economic Development. They held a meeting Wednesday night with residents to discuss the current signage and hear input on improvements to navigating downtown while keeping the character of the community. Director of the Office of Planning and Development, Aaron Vega, said, as we start to brand a lot of downtown Holyoke with the business district and the historical nature of downtown, we're trying to figure out how to market this. How do we make it a place that people want to come to, but also the businesses and the people that live down here can identify with what's going on down here?
Wow. What a question that is for Holyoke.
Can you just make the signs gun-shaped?
I don't. How do we? Wow, that is a hard. How do you answer that question?
Well,
how do you make people feel comfortable driving through the streets of downtown Holyoke?
I don't know. I don't know how you do that. But I say you put the gun-shaped signs like this way, this way to the flats, this way to the other way. A survey is available for residents' input on the initiative.
Survey said.
A second public meeting will be held to present the proposed sign designs and overall strategy. I've been really enjoying these people on TikTok that go to these city council meetings, and bring up some ridiculous thing that has nothing to do with whatever agenda that they're doing. There was a guy out in California who was complaining about why you couldn't carry your surfboard down the street and things like that. Somebody should go to the Holyoke City Council and do that.
Well, maybe if someone was had a penchant for going on, I don't know, Facebook, community forums to troll people in the very same way by bringing up things that are not necessarily related to the topic that's being discussed.
Hey, I do that.
You don't say.
Yeah, I do. They're not even forums. They're just stories from 22 News. But it's also a way for me to promote my $20 dinner and a comedy show that's happening March 27th over at the Shortstop Bar and Grill. So you guys got to find the right way to market to people.
That's all you got to do.
That's what you got to do. What's this other story here? Here you go. The recent bird flu outbreak has caused a sharp increase in egg prices, and the same trend is now seemingly happening with beef and other meat products. Unlike with eggs, the latest supply shortage isn't caused by an illness. Rather, cattle ranchers blame the high cost of supplies for keeping herds fed and transporting cattle from the west to the east coast. Cattle ranchers across the nation have been facing a supply and demand struggle, driving beef prices up. This can be attributed to a variety of factors like rising interest rates, high grain prices, and the shrinking U.S. cattle inventory. There's not enough cows having sex with each other for us to enjoy their meat.
Well, there must be something we can do. Something that, play like soft romantic music, take the cows out to a nice dinner.
Well, let's get that Laura Korn book, 101 Nights of Great Sex, and give it to the cows and see what they come back with.
The problem is they can't open the envelopes with their hooves.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
You kind of need opposable thumbs just to open the envelopes.
No, you don't.
Sure you do. How's a cow going to open up an envelope?
He licks it. He licks it open. It's like steaming it over a kettle. He just licks it.
I suppose.
Yeah. And you can open up a different romantic interlude each and every night of the week.
Well, it would be great to see more cows out there. That's for damn sure.
Do you ever have cow sex? That sex will melt your face off.
No, but I've had my share of pigs.
Whoa!
Oh,
Hey, yo! How about this guy?
That's a joke, by the way. I just want to say that.
Was it a joke?
Let they lay that out there. It's a joke.
You're a pioneer.
I haven't really been with that many pigs.
Well, you haven't lived yet, Bax. Believe me.
No, I have not.
I was in a slaughterhouse once. It was called Mingles.
Right.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be rainy with a high of 48.
Here he comes, Elsie. He's walking through the door.
All right, now get your little pig ears up and your little button nose.
My udders are on fire.
Here he comes. That means two things. Rainy with a high of 48 today. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 41. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Ah, yeah.
Live in Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 6:50 and Bachman Turner Overdrive with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Backman and,
Backman
and Turner?
I don't know why I said that.
Backman and Turner.
Yes.
That's who we are.
Hey, Bacon and Brews is coming back. Brought to you by Dave Miner Exterior Home Improvements.
What?
And Aquapump. Yeah, I know.
I won't be there.
You're not going to be there?
I'm going to be on vacation.
Are you really?
Yeah, that's why I usually go on vacation that week. Usually it's when I come back from vacation, but we moved it up earlier.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you're going to join us at the Log Cabin Sunday, April 13th from noon to 3 for a big bacon and craft beer themed bash. Your admission includes all the bacon-inspired bites you can shave a stick at and eat by the Log Cabin chefs. There'll be a cash bar, and also the band Stimulus will be playing there live. Early bird tickets go on sale on Monday at 10 o'clock at rock102.com. You want to buy yours early before the price goes up, because they will. You got to be over 21 with a positive ID to enter. It's Bacon and Brews, brought to you by Dave Miner Exterior Home Improvements and Aquapump, with support from Nor'easter Organic Life Hydroponics, Tommy Carr Auto Group, and Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
You know why it's earlier this year?
No.
Because Easter falls on Sunday the 20th.
Yeah.
It's a little late this year.
Yes, I don't think I'm taking that week off.
How do they figure out when Lent starts? I mean, Lent starts like next week, I think. But then sometimes it's been like near Valentine's Day almost.
I'm not sure exactly how they do it. I believe the Vatican pulls things from the Pope's hat. Like a little slip of paper is up. It's going to be April 15th this year.
It's we're just guessing what day it's going to be.
Yeah, and you got all these cardinals in the back. Dig deeper, dig deeper.
Yeah, pull the what? Yeah, and then one guy folded the ticket so it's easier to pick out of the basket. That kind of thing.
Those cardinals can get squirrely from time to time.
I guess so. But,
anyhow,
but that's why it's on the 13th.
But that's a great event. We hope you come out there, but you want to buy your tickets early because the price does get jacked up at a certain period of time. So get on the stick.
It's a great event too. I mean,
I love it.
It's bacon. How can you go wrong with bacon?
Listen,
lots of bacon stuff.
Bacon is added to the things we love. It makes the things we love that much better.
Oh, look at you! Is that from your speech that you write every week?
It's a variation of it.
Is that from the speech you wrote once and then copied and pasted every year? And when you do it at the Bacon Fest,
I try to add, take things in.
It's like your grilled cheese speech. It's not always the same, but there's a little bit of variation to it.
You would think that after like 30 years of doing the same damn thing, I would have perfected it, and it's gotten pretty damn close.
You should do a grilled cheese bacon speech.
Dude, my head would explode.
Because you don't want anybody leaving the log cabin after reading that.
No, the grilled cheese speech is designed to nauseate people. The bacon speech is more to it's almost an inarguable presentation. Like, who could argue with anything that I've just said in the bacon speech? You can't.
You can't. It's unarguable.
It is. It's completely bulletproof.
You and I are on these episodes of this podcast that one was released last night. Mine was released last night. So I'll Move the Mic podcast
with Damian Therian and Eric Williams. We had those guys in here. Those are the guys that brought out the coffee machine for us.
Yes, they are, which we haven't used. Where is the coffee machine?
Right over here.
It's over there. Okay.
Yeah, we got to set that up.
Well, because I've been haggling with the brass upstairs about whether or not we can bring this refrigerator that has the insulin that has expired in 2020 from the guy that left here in 2015. I don't know. I don't know what to
listen.
Do.
If we got to go buy one of them little cube refrigerators like they have like dormitories, I'll chip in for that.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Moneybags over here chipping in for a...
Can't be that expensive, right?
Oh, it's probably $100. Who's got $100 now?
Well, not me, but I got 50. I could probably come up with 50 if I had to.
Yeah.
Maybe donate some bottles and cans.
I don't have that kind of money.
Well, I think something needs to be set up. But yeah, anyway, that the first episode with you came out last night. I was watching a little bit last night, listening to some of it in the car.
I believe it's also on Spotify too. I think it Move the Mic podcast is on Spotify as well.
We do a good job. I got to tell you,
it's a lot of fun. I was impressed about how well it came out. You know, when you're like when somebody you have a camera on you and you're like, oh God, I don't like this idea. Somebody's watching me. You know, we do it sometimes with the live videos here in the studio, but we got makeup artists. We got people coming in here puffing our faces and all that stuff before we do that.
But, I always feel like somebody's watching me. I get no privacy.
You should write that down. That could be a hit song someday.
Listen, we already talked about 2 things I've written.
Yes.
I don't need to add a third one.
But yeah, Move the Mic podcast. You can see it. It's on my socials. It's on my Facebook and Instagram pages. Check it out on YouTube, or you can check it out on Spotify or anywhere you get a podcast.
I think I got through the first 30 minutes or so. So I'm pretty well.
It's very long. It's not something that you're going to want to. It's not like a couple of minute video that you can watch like on a TikTok.
No, but those guys do make like reels and clips and stuff like that. So then there'll be some smaller, short form videos being posted soon, I'm sure.
Let me just. I'm waiting for an answer here. I'm trying to. I did a video yesterday, tongue in cheek, if you will.
Yeah.
About EverSource and about how, the real victim in this EverSource scandal. It's scandal. I don't know if it's a scandal, but it's a rate jacking, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All these people's bills went up 30%, but people aren't thinking of the real victim here, and that's Mr. Nolan, the CEO of EverSource. I mean, this guy clearly he was making $13 million last year.
Yeah.
They gave him a raise of $5 million. He's now making $18 million, and if the rates are up that high, that means he's barely scraping by. And, you can do your part by contributing by leaving all your lights on in your home. How else is this guy going to, fly on a private jet without having to book a first-class ticket on a commercial airline? Can you imagine that?
Now, I don't know this for sure. I just heard rumors that, he is in the middle of building a vacation home, and that has gotten very, very expensive, what with materials and labor and everything else. I mean, if he can't make his bonus this year, how is he going to complete the construction of that vacation home?
Exactly. We got to save this guy from having to rent out a room in his mansion as an Airbnb for a weekend.
If he doesn't crack the nut, as they say, he may have to let go some of his staff.
But
and by staff, I mean like the butler, the maids, the gardeners.
Imagine cutting
the
your
pool boy.
You got to cut your laundry service down to 6 days a week versus 7 days a week.
He may have to start mowing parts of his own lawn.
Can you imagine wearing polo shorts twice in 1 week? The same polo shorts?
No, you should have to wear them once and throw them away like most rich people do.
Well, we're gonna be talking about Eversource coming up after 7:00 with Mayor Will Reichelt from the city of West Springfield, who's involved in this lawsuit against Eversource for these ridiculous rate hikes that have been bestowed upon the good people of Eversource.
And I suppose he'll be on the phone.
Yes, it'll be on the phone. I don't think he's going to be. With all the potholes between here and there, he ain't going to make it. No, we're going to call him on the phone, and we'll have him on in about 10 minutes or so.
All right, 6:58 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? As most of you know, football is a highly structured game of complicated rules, most of which have been put into place for the sole purpose of either protecting players from sustaining serious injuries, owies, or boo-boos, or to enhance the competitive nature of football. Recently, the NFL has been considering a host of new rules that they hope will simplify the game for the purpose of everyone's personal enjoyment. Yesterday, NFL League executive Troy Vincent addressed changes in simplifying rules to overtime periods for both regular and postseason play. In regular season games, as you may know, both teams have the opportunity to possess the ball in overtime unless a touchdown is scored during that first possession. In postseason games, both teams get to possess the ball regardless of what happens on that opening drive. The league is now considering changes so that the postseason rules of overtime would apply all season long. The other rule change is to adopt a virtual measuring system that will all but eliminate the antiquated chain measuring system. Instead, officials will be automatically notified when a team makes a first down the moment the ball is spotted on the field by hand. The chain officials would now only serve as a backup rather than be the first line of measurement. As it's turned out, the NFL has been testing this new system for quite some time now and appears to be ready to make the full-time transition for this upcoming season. Now, personally, I kind of like these new rules. I hate rules that are designed to protect players from getting hurt. I'd much rather see technology enhance the competitive nature of football without ruining the game any more than it has to. Having said that, I can barely figure out how to switch up the ringtone of my cell phone, never mind trying to learn a complicated software system that can only measure first down yardage. Thankfully, that'll be somebody else's problem and not mine. I just want to watch football with some uniformity of the overtime rules and assume that the computer-generated lines in the field can be trusted. Because frankly, without it, I find it's an insult to my artificial intelligence. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. The Craftsman 47-piece driver bit set from Rocky's. I'm no tool expert, but 47 pieces? That sounds like every driver bit you're ever going to need. Yeah, you can get it for just $15 at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock. It's 7-11 in Fleetwood Mac with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Rainy today with a high of 48. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield. On the phone with us this morning is West Springfield Mayor Will Reichelt, who is feeling the pain along with everybody else who is an Eversource customer. Matter of fact, most people just got their bills the other day, and do you have an arm or a leg that you can spare that we can pay for our bills? Will?
Yeah, I'd rather not. I got to run this triathlon in June, so
I
can't afford any appendage.
It would be hard to hop along the finish line.
I'd definitely fucking be swallowing water in the river.
Hey, that river is clean.
Right now it is.
Right
Sure.
now, yeah. Will, thanks for coming on with us this morning. I just wanted to ask you about this. You filed a resolution to the West Springfield Council to investigate the Eversource rate increases. People have been feeling this big time. I mean, it seems like the supply has gone up astronomically, and from what I can read, it's about 29% than it has been since November, correct?
Yes, yeah. And it's been a very cold winter, too. Unlike the past few years that have been mild, I saw on the news, 50-plus days of under 50-degree weather for the first time since 2015. So that, compiled with the 30% increase, is hurting families.
Now, has Eversource responded to this, any kind of, investigation into this?
No, I haven't heard directly from them. We have a local rep that I've spoken to that said, a lot of ways this is coming from Boston. The governor, with DPU, essentially approved this rate back in November, and they're going along with it.
How did nobody notice that the Massachusetts legislature approved rate hikes of 29%?
I don't think. I mean, when you're not getting your bill, and I'm just as guilty as this. Like, it's not really advertised, and like understandably so. If you're doing a rate increase, you don't want it on the cover of the Boston Globe. But I don't think many folks paid attention to it until all of a sudden we're getting these bills compiled with the cold weather and being like, whoa, what is going on here? And then you go back and look, like 30%, that is crazy.
This is West Springfield Mayor Will Reichelt on the phone. Yesterday we were talking about that one of the things that Eversource was going to do to kind of ease the burden of this is to not necessarily have it be like a 1 month thing, but they're going to soften the blow by spreading out the increase throughout the entire year. When you talk to residents, and I'm sure residents and maybe even other mayors and other politicians locally are kind of having these conversations together, I mean, that doesn't really seem like much of a compromise. I mean, that just seems like, pushing off the inevitable pain. It's not like anyone's going to be saving any money in the long term this way. I mean, do cities and towns have the ability to fight those rate changes and the reaction to it? Do they have any recourse other than a resolution?
Unfortunately, since we have Eversource and since DPU out in Boston sets these rates, the only real recourse we have is kind of to complain up the chain, like to our legislators, to the governor's office, to say, like, this is intolerable for our community. But unfortunately, since we don't have, like, Westfield, Chicopee, Holyoke, they have their own gas and electric, they set it on their own. They're not beholden to the DPU, whereas, unfortunately, with Eversource, we are.
Since you're the closest thing we're even going to get to the governor or the DPU, what has been their response to this? I mean, historically, when the electric company proposes a rate hike, what happens is they're like, yeah, it's going to go up 30%. And then there's some negotiation that goes on, and you still wind up with an increase, but it's like 12%. It's not something as drastic as this. What is the response from Beacon Hill on this?
So, like, right after we filed our resolution with our council, the legislators all signed on to one as well, and the governor, had a press conference and said the rates are too high. We need to take a look at them. So I think they're all realizing that 30% was too much, and because of the cold weather, like, families are feeling it more than they might otherwise have. So I think what I'm hearing is that they're going to do some kind of deferred 5% reduction, which, again, I don't think is enough when you're doing a 30% rate, and when you're deferring it, it's just like you said earlier, defer 5% now to collect it later. And there's no guarantee that in the summer, electric rates aren't going to be wild. At least with electric rates, we have a community aggregation, so we can buy power from different places to help our residents out. So we're not beholden to Eversource as much, but the supply charge is still going to be there. So the delivery charge is still going to be there.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. The delivery charge seems to be kind of like a shell game. It's like, you can tell me that that the delivery price has gone up significantly, but ultimately I'm still paying the same amount for a bill. It's kind of like you bought like concert tickets and the handling fees have gone up, and somehow that's supposed to be that's the handling fees. Nothing else you can do about that. But it just seems like these are like word games and robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of stuff. I mean, do you get the sense that that's what they're doing too, and by saying, well, prices of the energy have stayed moderately the same, but delivery that's really costing you.
Well, in talking to some of the local Eversource people, they tell me that delivery, and you look at this delivery like, what the heck? It's more than my bill. Like, what? I don't understand. And then my favorite residents' jokes are like, hey, just tell me where I can go pick the gas up. I'll just do it myself.
Right.
Because this delivery fee is ridiculous. So they tell, like, Eversource telling me that in Connecticut, you get 3 line items where you have supply, delivery, and then public policy, which is essentially in Massachusetts, it's public policy and delivery are in that same line item, essentially. So they say, like, the Mass Saves program, fuel assistance, all these kind of Boston initiations or initiatives that the ratepayers are paying for is in that delivery charge. So on top of, like, these 30% rate increases and cold winter, so you're using more natural gas, you have all this stuff and climate change and the green initiatives are important, but like kind of putting that all on the ratepayer and hiding it in delivery fees, so a bit misleading.
Well, it almost seems like a collusion between these people who run EverSource and the government here in Massachusetts, and it's not just Massachusetts. You're talking about Connecticut too. The rates have gone up down there as well. But what's this guy? This Nolan, whatever his name is, the guy who runs EverSource. Last year his salary was $13 million. He gets a raise at the end of last year for $5 million. So now he's making $18 million. And it's like, is nobody calling these people out going, is this the reason why your rates have gone up? Because you needed an increase for your CEO and your VPs?
Well, when you look at it, I heard some contrarians tell me, if the government didn't get involved with the power companies, EverSource would run a great business model and the rates would be lower. I'm like, well, when they post an $800 million profit last year and they're not giving any money back, don't tell me. But they're a publicly traded company. They're in the business to make money. When you look at Westfield Gas and Electric last year, like for their birthday thing in December, they gave a 12.5% discount back to their ratepayers. EverSource, I'm not going to hold my breath. I can't hold it that long. EverSource is never going to give us a discount on the rates. If they did, they're just going to defer it until the summer where they can get it back then.
How does the state negotiate with these public utilities? I mean, are there competition issues? I mean, could it ever be a situation where the state could start negotiating with somebody else to take over for EverSource, or is it really not that kind of situation?
It's much like as an example, local example that people would see. It's like the Comcast or Whip City monopoly that kind of exists here that we're pushing out with Whip City for internet. EverSource owns the infrastructure. They own the wires, they own the poles, they own the natural gas lines. So if someone wanted to compete per se, they'd have to
put their own
buy the infrastructure from EverSource, which I looked into just briefly, and I was told it'd be hundreds of millions of dollars. Which you wonder too, that's a big number.
How many kilowatt hours is that?
Enough.
Cool. What's the buyback going to be on that? Because you look at this and the rates I keep using Whip City just because we're doing fiber with them and I chat with them, are significantly lower, and they give profits back to the local community. Whereas EverSource, like you said, they take their profits and they give them to their CEO so he can buy another car or another vacation home. We have people here in West Springfield that are wondering if they can pay their rent or their mortgage because the bill's so high.
And this is not this question is not to single you out per se, but does every town have a representative that talks with the DPU?
I guess our legislators, they can speak with the DPU, but I don't think it's more of an executive function than it is a legislative function.
I just find
they'll certainly. Go ahead.
No, I just find it hard to believe that this was approved and nobody really heard about it.
Yeah, I trying to look back, think back to November. I guess it's kind of the old cloak and dagger thing, under the cover of darkness, the holiday season. No one's really paying attention. A lot of other stuff going on, and then boom, 30%.
I guess you can't spell.
And you realize it in January when you're getting your holiday bills along with your new EverSource bill.
You can't spell dupe without DPU.
Well, what's concerning to me, Will, is back in November, we're out at MGM collecting food to fight food insecurity in this area, which I think we can all agree is a massive problem in the state of Massachusetts. Maybe some of the worst numbers in America are right here in Western Mass.
In Pioneer Valley, yeah.
In the Pioneer Valley. And when you consider that and then impose inflation of everything else, eggs, fuel, meat is another thing they're talking about now. And then there's this. It's like, the average CEO, the average politician, they're doing, fairly well. But the average guy who's trying to, pay his bills and feed his family are, getting these bills in the mail and they're going, how can I make proper decisions for my family? It's not just people not wanting to pay their bill. It's about people being forced into positions of having to make very difficult financial decisions based upon a system that has not really worked very well for the consumer. And I just think that when other mayors or other state reps or state senators are looking through this, they really have to be kind of shocked that this is really going on, and it just seems like we're pigpiling on the average consumer, and I think it's a real shameful thing that we've allowed this to happen.
I absolutely agree, and really, the more we talk about these like high-minded ideals, and like the Mass Saves program, originally was for energy efficiency in the house, and now they're pushing the heat pumps to get rid of natural gas and get rid of like the carbon-based heating and electricity. But in reality, like that, again, is a great idea, but how much is it going to cost? And if we're pushing it back on the ratepayers, like we're making these people pay, all of us are paying for these things, and not everyone can afford the bill. It's like, well, why are we doing it this way? Because it's not working out. Like we may be green, and that's fantastic, but now we have people that are starving because they can't pay for food, for their mortgage, and their electricity.
I mean, it's clearly about profit, and somebody is benefiting from this on Beacon Hill as well, because you wouldn't be able to, you'd have to be able to lobby somebody in order to agree for a regular person to go, wait a minute, 30%, that seems like a little high. Don't
they
you
can
think?
kiss 30% of my ass.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Well, and you look, too, and we look at, like, people complain enough locally about water and sewer rates. And those are rates that are, like, the water and sewer for Springfield, for every community, essentially, is publicly owned. So there's no profit. If there's any profit on the enterprise fund, that money goes back into the water and sewer system. Whereas the publicly traded private company that powers our electric grid, all the money they make goes into the CEO's pockets or everyone else, out of the state, not back to the residents, not back to the communities. So just that whole model, and you look at these rates and you look at the money they're making, doesn't seem to work.
Long-serving and beloved mayor of West Springfield, Will Reichelt, on the phone. Will, great to talk to you. Thanks for spending some time with us today. We appreciate it.
And shut the lights off.
Thank you.
Shut the lights off.
And close the door.
Close the window.
What, do you heat up the whole town?
What, do you live in a barn? Thanks, Will.
Thanks, guys.
Will Reichelt with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Spring.
It's 7:28 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
The weather is going to be rainy today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 41. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield.
This week on Baxi's Musical Podcast, my guest has been a repost of my interview with Frank Bello from Anthrax. Wicked cool interview, one of my favorites. But next week, this one's also really cool. Frank Meyer, he is from the band Streetwalkin' Cheetahs. They've been around for over 30 years, but Frank has not only been a part of that band the entire time, he's also been a rock journalist. He's the author of 8 different books, including books about the Ramones and Van Halen. He's an award-winning documentary filmmaker. He's been a network director and producer. He's the brother of actor Breckenmeyer, and has got a brand new solo album, his first solo album in his 30-year-long career, called Living Between the Lines. It's awesome, and that interview will be available on Monday on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, rock102.com, and on the app, and it's all brought to you by Metro, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
Just a side tidbit here. Joseph Nolan, the CEO of Eversource.
Yes.
$18,885,000 is what his salary is.
All right, yeah, but he works his fingers to the bone.
Does he really?
He does.
What does he do?
He gets in the office. He reads the paper. Probably looks at a couple emails. Goes to lunch early. Spends some time eating, orders a cup of coffee, maybe a dessert, goes back to the office, probably takes a nap, signs a couple documents, has a meeting or two, and then he goes home.
If he just cut out Starbucks once a week,
he could probably save a lot of money.
I mean, clearly he's just scraping by at $18,885,577. Which is a huge jump from last year. $13 million he was making.
Well, he earned it. He earned it. With the COLA increase, I'm sure maybe his insurance premiums have gone up. Maybe they got a new insurance thing now. He needs more money to make just the his deductibles.
All right, Nolan, we are up for a raise. Tell us what you've done over the last year to deserve a $5 million raise. Well, I've kept an erection long enough where I can bend people over and screw them out of 30% of electric rate heights. You're granted $5 million.
Nolan, we would have just given you a raise if you cleaned your desk off.
Why didn't anybody tell me that?
You just organized your pencils.
Yeah.
That would have been fine.
Well, look at all the condoms he's got to buy for, screwing people left and right. That's what he got to do.
We got news coming up next on Rock 102. 7:33 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Where was I going with this? I was going somewhere with
I believe you were about to start news.
Maple syrup season. That's underway at local sugar shacks.
Mm-hmm.
You ever go up to the High Hopes farm up in Worthington? Or the High Hopes sugar shack up there?
I'm trying to remember what sugar shack I went up 2 years ago. I'm not a big maple fan.
Really?
No, I'm really not.
What about a breakfast fan? Are you a breakfast fan?
I like breakfast, but I rarely get something that involves syrup.
So I don't know how much it is now, but the High Hopes farm up in Worthington, that's you get all you can eat breakfast. And
Okay.
and it's in a sugar you sit in the sugar shack.
Okay.
You're sitting with all the sugar around you and the shacks as well.
Yeah.
And they got eggs and toast and sausage and bacon and
Yeah.
just unlimited amounts of whatever you want for one low price. And as many pancakes as you want too.
Well, how much breakfast can you really eat?
Well, I mean, if you're sticking to a strictly keto diet, I would recommend just the eggs and the bacon.
Sausage too.
You can eat a lot of
sausage.
Yeah, you can eat a lot of sausage and bacon.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And I believe when is Lent? Lent is next week.
Something like that.
Yeah, Ash Wednesday. That's next Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, which means you only have a few more days left for them punchkis at Big Y.
Right. So I believe all these sugar shacks start to open because they're open during Lent.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Why wouldn't you? Why would you not open the whole year?
Supply.
Oh, because you can only get so much sap out of the
right, because the sap is really only tappable during certain times of the year. You can't tap the trees all year. Trees got to rebuild their supply.
We should get one of those shirts with the maple trees on it that says "I'd tap that."
I have a Vermont T-shirt that says "I'd tap that." I got one of those.
Speaking of things, remember I was just telling you there was a video of this lady that I was watching on TikTok this morning. All the things she's gotten from blowies. And she was walking around her house going, this sign. And then she goes outside. She's like, these garden beds, these 2 dogs. I was going to stitch that and then show my minivan.
Is that how you got that tire fixed?
That's exactly how I got that tire fixed. That's what the insurance covers over at Town Fair. On Wednesday, West Springfield police officers were alerted to counterfeit $20 bills scattered on the ground on Elm Street between Harrison Avenue and Garden Street. Where was I? How come I didn't see these?
You don't want the counterfeit ones. You want the real ones.
Officers recovered 162 bills, all of which had the same exact serial number. One person has already been arrested and charged with trying to use a counterfeit bill at a nearby convenience store. If you come across any of these counterfeit bills, well, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean if you get one in your possession?
Yes, if you obtain one.
Which police said are easily identifiable because of the color and weight difference when compared to real currency. You're asked to contact the West Springfield Police Department at 413-263-3210, extension 0.
Well, we should contact the mayor of West Springfield. Oh, right. We already did that.
Maybe he was the one doling out the fake $20. Hey, you don't want to pay your Eversource bill? Here you go. Here's $100.
I don't think that's the case.
Well, you never know. On Wednesday evening, a public tour stop was held in Westfield, allowing residents to bring up any environmental or economic challenges facing their neighborhoods. The main concern brought up by residents, the proposed Streamfield Energy Storage Facility. Did you know about this?
What is that?
Energy company Jupiter Power sent out a letter to Westfield Mayor Michael McCabe and other city officials responding to questions and concerns raised by the city about this proposed lithium battery energy storage facility. If approved, that facility will be located in Westfield's industrial section. Over the last 2 years, the company says they've been meeting with Westfield officials and hosting open houses for Westfield residents discussing the proposed facility. The company says the potential project will produce many revenue benefits for the city. Maybe they can use that as a power source. You just hook up a couple of batteries. Remember we did the battery boys thing?
Yeah.
We should do that again.
Should really bring that up because I think that's got legs.
The approximately $170 million project, entirely privately financed, will be built with well-paying union jobs. The project will yield more than $1 million in annual tax revenue. Jupiter is willing to enter into a long-term tax agreement to guarantee that revenue for the city of a period for at least 15 years. At Wednesday's tour stop, Western Mass News spoke with Westfield resident Sherry Belanger. She called the letter from Jupiter Power PR response. Ooh, that's a cold response.
That's no kidding.
And says the proposed storage facility would create environmental concerns for Westfield and surrounding areas if a leak or explosion were to occur. It's not a matter of not in my backyard. It's a matter of not in anybody's backyard. This is death tech. I remember in college reading about the Manhattan Project, and a lot of these people were like, well, we don't know of what will happen, but let's just do it and find out. She's actually right about that.
That's true. But, these batteries that we all use have to be put somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they got to go. You're not supposed to just toss them in the trash, right? They're supposed to be recycled in specific ways, dealing with certain state laws.
I mean, if you take into account the wildfires out in L.A.,
yeah,
one of the things that caught fire was a giant battery facility that burned for weeks because it's loaded with batteries, and you can't just douse that out with a hose, even if you did have water in the area.
That's the one part of the whole Battery Boys project that I don't really want to be a part of, the recycling of old batteries. That's gross.
Nobody wants to be near that.
No.
You can get acid all over your hands.
I don't want acid anywhere near me.
Even with your gloves. Well, I mean, if you're going to put a battery facility anywhere, Westfield's the place to be.
Why not?
Yeah.
Or would you rather have it in some other remote location?
Well, maybe if you took it
like a Wendell, or like a Otis.
Oh, yeah. Put it out in the Berkshires where nobody would ever see it. Right in the middle of Beckett. Put a battery storage facility right next to a fishing pond.
Yeah. Now, if the worst thing that could happen is, like, say, one of the Berkshire hills gets burned out, you got other hills out there.
Yeah, there's plenty of hills. One hill?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to miss one hill out in the Berkshire, out in the foothills.
Just don't look at that side of the hill.
I don't know why people don't think out the side of the box like we do. Why is that?
Every time I think about it, like something like this, where people say, "Well, there's environmental concerns," I keep thinking about, imagine, living in one of those towns that was swallowed up by the Quabbin.
Yeah,
and you get like a thing in the mail saying, "Hi, we're the state of Massachusetts. We would like to propose something for you."
Yeah,
and here it is.
We're going to move you up to a higher elevation while we flood out the entire area that you're in right now.
It's like, you imagine getting that news for the very first time? I know you're really enjoying your house and you just added on a garage and a new rumpus room, but here's what we want to do.
I don't even know if you'd be able to do that today.
To me,
because
it's
because of the population of the area.
I mean, to me, it's the most unfathomable proposal in the world, and yet we went with it. It's like, it moved everybody, and I realized it was a long time ago, but it's like, everybody was convinced, I'll take the cash to move my house. You can flood up my property.
You got to move. Why? People in Boston need a glass of water.
They're very thirsty. They get a dry throat.
A 22-year-old man is charged in connection to at least 14 murders in Alabama.
Did you say murder?
Yes, I did say murder. Damian Laren McDaniel, 22, was already charged in the deaths of 11 other people in the mass shooting in 5 Points South and the mass shooting at Trendsetters Lounge in 2024. Officials said it was one of the most violent cases in Birmingham. Authorities have said he has now been charged in the deaths of a firefighter, 21-year-old Jordan Melton, and 21-year-old Mia Nixon, and a UPS employee, Anthony Love Jr. Police said the new murder charges related to the deaths of Nixon and Love are murder for hire cases. This guy was a killer.
No kidding.
He's also charged with attempted murder on a second firefighter, Jamal Jones. Charles Nance, McDaniel's co-defendant, is also facing capital murder charges in the Anthony Love murder case. You're killing UPS workers.
I wouldn't mess with those guys.
Well, what what did Brown do to you?
I don't know, but someone's not
all
happy.
These dangers on the job, these regular jobs that people have. You're a package delivery guy, and you got to worry about some guy going on a rampage.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Killed 13 other people.
It's not like you can tell your supervisor at UPS, hey, listen, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'm just not going in any bad neighborhoods. I only want to go into affluent neighborhoods with low crime rates.
I want to deliver packages to that guy, Joseph Nolan Jr. from CEO of Eversource. I heard he's got some really good candy at Halloween. He's got full-size Butterfingers.
And those Butterfingers are grabbing dollar bills from everybody in Western Massachusetts.
Yeah, there's like a hand in the bucket that grabs your wallet. Like Thing from the Addams Family, just grabbing wallets. I'll use this for my personal use later on. A 29-year-old man in Vancouver, British Columbia, got sloppy drunk at a wedding on Saturday, and people took his keys away to stop him from driving drunk. This was about 1:45 in the morning. He wasn't happy about that, and he started a fight. The police showed up, arrested him for breach of peace, and drove him home to sleep it off. That's the difference between Canadians and Americans. The cops here will throw you in the drunk tank for the night.
Right.
The Canadian police will give you the courtesy, we'll drive you home.
We'll escort you down the road.
But instead of just passing out like he should have, he decided to call an Uber, went back to the wedding to get his car, and drove drunk anyway. He sped by a police station at 3:50 a.m. going twice the speed limit. They clocked him at 76 and a 30, or technically 123 kilometers per hour.
He must have been in a real rush.
They arrested him again and tossed him in jail to sober up. He's now facing drunk driving charges and lost his license for at least 3 months. What an idiot. How dumb can you be? You get a clean break from the cops.
Yep.
They drive you home, but you're so drunk that you're like, no, I'm going to need my car in the morning. Why could you not wait several hours, sober up a little bit, then get an Uber, then go back and get your car?
Steve, he's drunk.
I know, but
He's not going to make good decisions while he's drunk.
Yeah,
That's
but
why he's drunk.
But most people who get pulled over for like a DUI, they don't sober up, motor skill wise, but they sober up enough to go, I'm probably going to jail tonight. So when the police show up and they take you home, that should be enough to go, yeah, you know what? Maybe I've embarrassed myself enough.
But you're asking for reasonable decisions made by people who are no longer capable of making them. Even if they've had nothing to drink for an hour or two, they're still flying high, dude. They're still buzzing.
By the way, not to get off topic, but yes, to get off topic. Somebody is sending us a picture, and they haven't sent it yet, about the corner of C. Anal Street and Jackson Street in Holyoke with a giant pothole, apparently. There's a hole on C. Anal Street.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that ironic?
Who's going to fill that one?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know about it. I think you need something bigger than a cone to put in there. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, it is going to be rainy with a high of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 41. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Have you been... Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 7:53 and Steppenwolf with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be rainy today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 41, but 53 on Saturday and then 20 on Sunday.
Tomorrow, though, will be a great day to stay indoors and watch a show at MGM Springfield. Free Music Friday is tomorrow night at MGM, the Aria Ballroom. Changes in Latitudes is the band. That's America's premier Jimmy Buffett show. Only bested by if Jimmy Buffett were still alive to perform himself.
And what better way to pretend like you're in a tropical era than going to see a Jimmy Buffett tribute band at MGM.
Absolutely. Stop by the Rock 102 table. Steve will be there with the road crew. You can win a nice prize while you're standing in line to get in. It's tomorrow night, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Aria Ballroom at MGM with Steve and the road crew from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
A lot of people chiming in about this Eversource thing.
Well, because everybody's feeling it.
It's affecting everybody.
Yes.
And you know, some of these municipal ones are seeing rate increases too. Not nearly as much though as the private entity.
Yeah, but
you're an Eversource.
But you're hearing people in Connecticut saying they're getting jacked, and the other states of the country getting whacked pretty good too.
Yeah, and I am focused on the CEO and his hefty purse now that he's got to carry around with him with his $18 million, almost $19 million.
He doesn't carry it with him, though, Steve. He probably just uses credit cards or debit.
Well, as I said in my video yesterday, this man had dreams of swimming in a pile of money like Scrooge McDuck when he got older, and here he is. He's able to do that now.
Yeah, well,
I wonder if he has a Scottish accent, too.
I don't know.
Is he raising 3 little ducklings that don't belong to him?
I always wonder why Scrooge McDuck didn't have the duck accent that his nephew Donald had.
Yeah, why
what is that?
Why
we're so focused on Donald's speech impediment, but yet if you have a few bucks in your pocket like Scrooge McDuck, then all of a sudden it's a different world you verbally.
And I'm not placing the sole blame on this man, but it's also a governmental thing too. Like, the DPU and the governor's office approved all this.
Well,
didn't tell anybody.
So do their shareholders.
But it's so weird that, usually we've heard before about when they do these rate hikes. Because every once in a while that comes up. And, but again, as I said to Will Reichelt this morning, historically you've seen, okay, we're going to raise the rates up by 30%. And then people get outraged.
Right.
And then by the time the government hears about it, they're like, they pull this shell game and they negotiate, and they're like, well, it's only going up by 13 or 14%. We're not going to really do 30%. But I didn't even see that this year. I haven't. Maybe it's because Mass Live doesn't have enough employees to put the stories out there, and they're focused more on DUIs than they are about DPUs. You know what I mean? They're mixing their DPUs and their DUIs.
Yeah, they don't know the difference.
Yeah, where's the body cam footage from the DPU meeting?
I know. Good point.
Right.
I know when I used to invest in public utilities and railroads, it never cost me this much. Like when I bought the B&O Railroad many years ago, along with the waterworks, I thought I was making a good investment, and I did at the time when you consider how cheap it was to buy into either one of them.
As Will Reichelt said, the waterworks is a municipal-owned entity. You're not going to make any money off that, but the electric company.
Yeah, the electric company was worth the investment.
Yeah.
But when I owned B&O and the Reading Railroad, I thought, well, maybe some profits will come in.
Now you're just still stuck with the BO.
And that's it.
That's the problem.
But B.O. didn't last forever, Steve.
Yeah. But if you want to hear that interview with Will Reichelt, you could be able to listen to it after 10 o'clock on the podcast, Bax and Nagle podcast at rock102.com.
It's 7:57 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, when the day comes that I can retire from this godforsaken business approximately 2,390 days away from today, rest assured that it would take a Vatican-certified miracle to convince me to stay at work. Additionally, it would take the same act of divine intervention to convince me to come back. So let me dash those upcoming rumors of my triumphant return ahead of time. Once I'm out, I'm quite certain I'm going to stay that way. Recently, there's been a slow-swirling pool of rumor-mongering, insinuation, and speculation that former Patriot great Rob Gronkowski has been considering abandoning his lucrative broadcast career with Fox Sports to sign with the Denver Broncos to resume his almost certain Hall of Fame football career, which, by the way, ended nearly 4 years ago. According to these rumors, Gronks was considering a turn to football due to his admiration for Broncos quarterback Bo Nix, and also his personal friendship with head coach Sean Payton. Well, as it turns out, none of those rumors were true. Gronk is not only not coming out of retirement, he's not going to play with the Denver Broncos. According to Gronk, quote, "They must know something about me that I don't. I wish I still had those powers because it would be cool if I did. But I was just in Australia for a few days. Now it's time to relax a little with no football. You see, folks, not everybody, including myself, wants to resume the punishing schedule, the rigorous training, and the physical and mental exhaustion of making you people happy day after day. Would I want to come back to work after being retired for the last 4 years? I wasn't entirely sure I wanted to come back after a 5-day-long vacation. Granted, Gronk at 35 years old is 23 years younger than me, but I'm pretty sure he's kind of feeling the same way that I am. Football was fun, but he's not likely to blow out a knee or go into concussion protocol during the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show or during halftime coverage, even with Terry Bradshaw appearing to throw off the curve. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. So, your furnace has been working pretty damn hard this winter. Better change those filters. Go to Rocky's for basic pleated air filters. Buy 3, get 1 free. All the stuff you need around the house you'll find at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Fields Classic Rock. It's 8:09. And Van Halen with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be rainy today with a high of, what did I say? I lost the weather here.
I got 47.
I got 48. And then tomorrow, it's cloudy with a high of 41.
I got 42.
Saturday, the pick of the week, 53. And then Sunday, 26.
How does that even happen? How do you go from like a 53 to a 26?
It's Mother Nature back. She really can't question how that happened.
I can question her all I want. There's nothing she can do about it.
Yeah. I'm just reading these Ask Reddit questions.
Yeah.
What is the most effed up thing a person you know has ever done?
The most effed up thing a person I know has ever done.
Do you want to hear one example?
Yeah.
Dude was caught squatting in a home doing meth with a prostitute. When a bike cop caught him, he got his information and arrested him. He was released with a trial to be set. The problem is, dude didn't give his name. He gave my name and my mom's address.
All right, where's the effed up part?
Dude was my little brother.
Ooh, yes.
That's not even the messed up part. My mother was getting notifications in the mail for me to appear in court sent to her home, then notifications for a warrant. She said nothing to me because, as she explained later after I was arrested at my work, I didn't think you'd be in trouble. You know how many times your brother's been in prison? I just couldn't see that happening to you.
Yeah, that's something.
He told her that he requested the arresting officer to be at the trial and that he would be bringing a picture of my brother. She begged and pleaded with me not to do that. Fortunately, a friend of mine represented me pro bono.
Pro.
So at least I had that going for me. My counsel asked to approach the bench before the trial started and showed the judge the picture. The judge then asked the officer to approach, and all I heard the cop say to me was, "Yeah, that's not the guy." He pointed at the pic and said, "That's the guy." Judge just sighed heavily and said, "Case dismissed," and that was that. Years later, I was pulled over at a traffic stop. The officer ran my name, and it still came up that someone with warrants could be impersonating me. So I had to prove who I was, who I said I was, by taking off my shirt in the cold to show I had no tattoos.
Really?
Good times, he ends it with.
All right, that is kind of messed up. I mean, I think like my best story could top that.
What's your best story?
Well, I don't want to get too into the weeds on this one, but I once worked with a guy that tried to sell the radio station that I was working for at the time.
I think I worked with that very same guy.
That's why I'm trying to be so evasive with this and all the details involved. But
we've been flagged for...
Why? What did we do?
We must have said something.
See, we're live on the TikToks. I don't even know what the hell we were doing. But anyway, he tried to sell the radio station. He was not authorized to do that ever.
Rock and roll, muchacho.
Yeah, he was not qualified to do such a thing.
That is a pretty that's a pretty ballsy thing to do.
Yeah, especially if he had completed the deal and there was like a contract signed. I don't think it got to that point. I think there was a chance that someone might not have believed him that he was.
Really?
in position to sell a business.
Well,
of
especially
any
when,
kind.
when you saw what the guy looked like.
Well, I'm not judging. I'm trying to be very evasive here and not get into anything specific.
Picture Disco Stew with a lot more tanning oil on him.
But yeah. But maybe more concerning than Disco Stew.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of anybody that I know that. I mean, I know I've done some messed up things myself in my time, but I don't really know anybody that's done something messed. I mean, I've known people that have gotten involved in there was somebody I knew that was involved in a murder.
Okay.
That was pretty intense.
Sure.
But as far as like knowing somebody who's done something really effed up, other than that guy you just mentioned.
Yeah. Well, I did know okay, I take this back. I did know a guy that was selling equipment out of the radio station for Coke, engineering equipment.
I told you not to tell anybody that.
Well, I didn't say names, Steve. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying that person no longer.
Coca-Cola, by the way. We have to say that for the TikToks.
Oh, what did you think I was saying?
I thought you meant narcotics.
No, come on. I mean, how effed up do you think things have to be here?
I don't know.
Anyway, that's those are my best stories. I don't think I'm anything close to that.
That's all I had this morning. I don't know.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
Well, I was trying. There's some pretty nasty stories on here that I can't even repeat.
Yeah.
Because they involve, certain types of crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. This guy chopped a debt collector friend up into pieces after freezing the body to make it easier getting caught when a foot came floating out of a what?
All right, that sounds made up.
My uncle scammed my disabled sister.
Okay,
that's always a scumbaggy type of thing.
Yeah, I try not to mess with the disabled if I don't have to.
I don't know. Sometimes I see the white collar crimes of like somebody embezzling money from a company.
Yeah.
While that is a dirty thing to do, it's not really as bad as stealing from a disabled family member. You know what I mean? Like that's a really scumbaggy.
I would much rather steal from a disabled stranger.
Yes, right.
I don't feel the same moral obligation to a stranger as I would to someone who's in my own family.
Yeah, let's not do that to our own. Blood is blood. Blood is thicker than water. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that to your own family member.
But once I leave the stranger, I'm probably never going to see that guy again.
Yeah, but we've been bleeding the Hawkman out for. With these candies that he sends and the beef jerky and all that stuff.
The fruitcakes the guy sent me.
And all that stuff.
I know.
But, I don't really know anybody. Maybe you know somebody that's done something messed up. But you got to keep a parameter here. We don't want to be opening up the phone line.
No, I really don't. And again, I'm trying to be very evasive. I'm not naming names or pointing fingers specifically at any one individual. But there's some stories.
Yeah.
That maybe should, perhaps not be shared until I write my memoirs.
Oh, you're gonna release a tell-all book.
Oh, of course.
You're coming up on 30 years here.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
Your anniversary is coming up soon.
Yeah. And once that happens, I believe like all my benefits roll over, which is really what I'm most excited about.
They roll over?
Well, actually, I take that back because my starting date in this company is actually in January. But, yeah, my anniversary date is in March.
So what does that mean? What kind of benefits do you get?
Well, I mean, my vacation time rolls over in January rather than March. So that's good,
When did that change? Because for the longest time, it was always our anniversary dates that we had the vacation time.
Well, my initial anniversary date is technically January when I started working with the company.
Oh, but then when you started
but then
here,
I got transferred 2
times.
times. Yeah, that's exactly it. So there, we had to. Sometimes you have to, clarify that for for new people.
See, that was the same with mine. But when I became your producer, then it was January of 2007.
I see.
So then that's how I've been always been able to get the full reset on that. Do you think they're going to give you anything for your 30th?
I don't know. And it's like I don't really desire any kind of parade or
a watch, perhaps.
Like, what am I going to do with a watch? Of all the people that don't need a timepiece, it would be me.
The funny thing is, you don't even know how to tell time, yet you have a watch on your hand.
Yeah.
That tells you the correct time. Yet, anytime we're doing some sort of bit here, or anything like that, you still seemingly mess up the time. And I don't even say anything anymore because it just becomes it's become part of the show.
How about all the times where I get the time right? Like for example, right now it's 8:18. I got that right on the nose.
It's actually 8:19.
I got 8:18. I'm looking right and 40 seconds.
Oh, so now you're going to blame it on the computer that you have the wrong time.
Yes. I'd much rather blame it on technology than on my own.
At 9:10, you say it's 7:10 or it's 6:10.
Well, whatever, Steve. After nearly 30 years, they haven't gotten rid of me yet.
But have you ever been evaluated for perhaps a learning disability or something that may prevent you from telling the correct time all the time?
Steve, I believe I've addressed this once when you were harshly criticizing me for my inability to tell time, and I told you that. Yes, there are many learning disabilities which have prevented me from understanding numbers in any form.
I don't even believe you've been here 30 years.
1995, March 20th.
Yeah, but you know how we went through this with the Mayflower Marathon. Like, okay, well, what was the actual? Does that start the year, or does that?
No, that's a day that has been etched in on paperwork.
Oh, paperwork. So
yeah,
it's
paperwork.
Official now.
Yeah, it's official. That is exactly what it was.
Do you have any requests of what you want to do for your anniversary?
It would be nice to either get the day off or knock off early. But I've been told I'm not getting that day off.
No. Do we have to take you out to lunch or something? Do we have to?
I really require no specific celebration.
I mean, what's a good 30th anniversary present for a guy who's been doing a job like this?
I don't know, $30 in scratch tickets.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What's the threshold of?
I shouldn't. Listen, I don't know. You guys know me well enough. We
have to get you a card. Is that what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to. It's you know what? If you see a manila envelope being floated around the office, that card is for you.
Listen, if they'll get a card for someone who hasn't even started working here yet. Imagine what they'll do for someone who's been working here for 30 years.
That guy's not even allowed to open that card until his 90-day probation period is up. Did you know that?
Is that a fact?
Well, no, I made that rule as the cake server. Do you want a cake? Do you want a cake for your?
I really need nothing.
You don't want a cake from La Fiorentina? I could get you a cake. I'm the cake
sure you
czar.
could. I'm sure that's fine.
I can hook you up.
But then is it right for me to have like 2 cakes in a year? What's going to happen around September when it's my birthday? Will I have already exhausted my cake allotment for the year?
No, you have the birthday, which comes every year. You'll always get the cake once a year.
Yeah.
But then, this is a significant milestone for being able to survive this business for 30 years.
No, just survive this building for 30 years.
Yeah, that's true. How many years have you been in radio?
19... Is it 86?
1986.
I think it's 1986 is when I first started working in radio.
Damn.
So it's actually...
I was in first grade.
39 years.
Can you imagine that? I was in first grade when that happened. And you were just starting out as a young buck on some Milwaukee station.
That's right.
How about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
Ain't that a kick right there in the face?
I was in high school when I first heard you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. I was younger then, too.
This is why I feel so young around here. It's because you're so old.
All right, but you know what? As long as Dan Williams is here, I'm not quite yet the oldest person here.
All right, that's it. That's the worst thing I've ever done, was just insult you.
By the way, there are not that many years separating me and Dan Williams, so everybody is aware and Dan doesn't get hurt by it.
Yeah, but he knows a thing or two about a thing or two. At least he knows how to tell time at his age. That took 30 years to learn?
I know. It's 8:22 with Bax and Nagle at Rock 102.
Live in concert, Saturday nights at 9 on Rock 102.
There's a shotgun when you need one.
Stop it, Steven, please. Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:29, and Nirvana with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be rainy today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 41. It's 38 right now in downtown Springfield.
And we have news next at Rock 102.
Want the perfect...
8:31 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Freedom Credit Union. Freedom is yours. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. The United States Attorney's Office and the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office have filed a joint complaint against the 19 skilled nursing facilities in Massachusetts and Connecticut for alleged fraudulent billing. The complaint was filed on Tuesday afternoon under the Federal and Massachusetts False Claims Act against these SNFs and their present and former management companies, Regal Care Management Group, LLC, and Regal Care Management 2.0. That was when Regal Care Management Group didn't work out. They made it better by 2.0.
Right.
It's twice the false claims that they're filing against the people. SNF
Ain't nothing wrong with the reset.
SNF serves as inpatient facilities providing transitional care to patients following a hospital stay. Federal health care programs like Medicare or Medicaid reimburse providers for medically necessary services provided to patients. The joint complaint alleged that between 2017 and 2023, Regal Care fraudulently submitted claims to Medicare and Medicaid under the direction of owner Eliu Merlis and executive Hector Caraballo. The claims were allegedly submitted for medically unnecessary and unreasonable services to Regal Care's SNF patients. Well, this lady had a hysterectomy. We had to give it to her. But she came in here for a broken ankle.
Nevertheless.
Yes, but it was medically necessary that we did that for her.
Her uterus was so heavy, it put all that weight on her ankles.
So big. So big. The documents also state that Stern Therapy Consultants, who also works for Regal Care, allegedly aided the company as a co-conspirator. The scheme allegedly resulted in millions of dollars of damages to the Medicaid and Medicare programs as a result. You know, that's another thing you gotta look out for. These companies, we're talking about individuals who do scumbaggy things.
Right.
But there's plenty of companies out there that are doing scumbaggy things too and raising prices of services that probably could be a lot cheaper if somebody wasn't pulling the screwdriver.
You don't think the elderly are getting away with murder?
It's those elderly people. That's the one.
I'm telling you, the problem with the elderly is they're all so expensive.
Those are the one. Yeah, we need to maybe put them in homes somewhere.
But cheaper ones, not those real expensive ones where their care is like for 24 hours in a row.
Yeah, where you getting generic applesauce, not that fancy Mott's stuff.
Yeah, give them a nice room where you slide a tray of food under the door.
I kind of like that idea. Yeah, let them fend for themselves once in a while.
Yeah, prison style. Let's give them something to do. Maybe they could do laundry or make license plates.
Oh, yeah. Put them to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way their minds and muscles don't go soft.
Listen, they're complaining about their high electric bill prices. Put them to work. Make them a few extra bucks.
Here you go, Grandma. Here's another slab of Jell-O for you.
Yeah, why don't you bring these? Why don't you bring these barbells up to the attic? It's something residents can count on every year this time in New England: pothole season.
Yeah, this is the time.
Weather conditions we've been having are causing potholes to show up all over. If you've been driving anywhere in western Massachusetts over the past couple of weeks, chances are you've probably had to avoid or maybe even hit a pothole. I hit one the other day. Damaged my tire. Had to get the car towed. Then I was told by the tow truck driver, you're the third guy this happened to at this very pothole.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? The funny thing was, when the tow truck guy was hooking me up to the car, not just like hooking me up with,
Of course, sure.
He's hooking me up. Another car pulled into that same parking lot. I'm wondering if that person also had something wrong with their vehicle because it was too early. It was a doctor's office. They weren't even open yet. It was only 6 o'clock in the morning.
I wouldn't be surprised. And the thing is, not everybody has a Barry Krieger in their life to bail them out.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe if Barry decided in his retirement to do some sort of ride share program, out of his house.
He could make some money off.
He could. It'd be a good side hustle for a guy like Barry.
Side hustle.
Yeah.
Krieger side hustle.
The Krieger car.
Listen, I drive around and I sell egg salad out of Tupperware containers, as well as kale soup, and I'll give you a ride to your destination after you hit a pothole.
And while we wait, let's split a Costco chicken.
Here, so the one I hit was up on Homestead Avenue, and apparently after 4 days now, there is a cone denoting that there is an 8-inch deep pothole. After many cars have, many tires have seen a demise.
You had mentioned that this morning when you drove by there, that the cone was actually
it was tipped over,
knocked over.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody had the wherewithal to put the cone back up.
Well, I was going to stop the car and take a video of the whole thing, but there was too much traffic going on. I wasn't going to put my life at risk.
It already cost you $55.
Yeah. Maybe it was like, you know what, though? I'm kind of wondering if that pothole was a portal to another world. Like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You know?
Yeah.
You open up the closet, you go in there, you're in Narnia.
You know, like none your business.
Yeah, right.
Well, I've been seeing a lot of videos on the TikToks about, life is actually a multi-dimensional, plane where
you're getting those too.
Yeah. There's many dimensions going on.
Is it what we're talking about here that is showing us? Because I know the phone listens to us, and I know the phone does this. Did you ever hear that theory, quantum? What is it? Quantum
leap.
Immortality theory.
Did
you ever hear that one?
Is that where we are all there is no real death, that there are, for lack of a better phrase, souls are always switching from one dimension to another?
If you think back to a time where you might have died.
Yeah.
But yet an alternate timeline brings you to you haven't died, you were just in an accident.
Yes.
So like maybe when I slipped off my stairs or slipped off the stairs here, I've died every time and now I'm in a different timeline.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, makes you think.
And there's so many different dimensions and so many different timelines that you can keep doing this over and over and over again.
I'm going to guess this is probably where the whole TikTok ban starts. They don't want people to know about this multi-dimensional universe that we're in.
Is that what you think it is?
It has nothing to do with the Chinese government whatsoever. It's all about UFOs, what we know, what's in Area 54, and then also about this multi-dimensional theory.
When was the last time you saw a UFO video? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Been a little while. Yeah.
So what happened? And whatever happened to that guy, too? You had told me that Stephen Greer was going to come out and reveal all the information that the government had, and then now we don't even have it.
You know what? I don't know. Maybe it's a part of a larger conspiracy. Whatever happened to this? You ever see the video of that guy Bashar? Ever see that guy?
Yeah, that guy who speaks through the aliens.
Right. He's a channeler.
Why haven't I seen him in a while?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Is it because we don't need to know that information right now?
Maybe he knows too much.
What are you seeing now?
Now I'm seeing a lot of soprano videos. And I'm seeing...
We were just talking about that the other day because we were talking about different shows that we should watch.
Yeah.
And I just told you that I had watched the entire, whole thing on, riding the Peloton.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing Better Call Saul. I'm seeing not nearly as many videos about UFOs. Kind of disappointing.
It's almost kind of like a conspiracy. Like they don't want us to know about what's going on.
Just at that point where I was getting interested in it.
Isn't that weird?
I know.
It's kind of creepy, don't you think?
I know.
Anyway, on White Road in Springfield, there's some very large potholes. We are still talking about potholes, aren't we?
Or are we? Or have we transitioned
transitioned into a different timeline?
Right.
Wait a minute.
Now in a different dimension.
And now we're in a different dimension, and people are going, what are you talking about? Homestead Avenue is completely paved. You just blew my mind.
Right.
There's no more potholes on Homestead Avenue.
Like we did that story earlier about how like Holyoke is trying to figure out how to get people to enjoy themselves downtown, to drive downtown Holyoke.
Because they want to put new signs downtown saying, how can we welcome people to the city rather than turn them away?
Well, is it possible that in a different dimension, people are going to Holyoke all the time and are having a blast?
I was just down there the other day.
Right.
And my immediate thought was, how do I get out of here?
That's in this dimension. But there could be another Holyoke dimension where you say, this is the nicest downtown area I have ever seen in my life.
Where the carousel is running 24 hours a day and people are enjoying themselves.
On live unicorns.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Not getting shot outside of them.
Yes.
That could be a dream. That could be a dream timeline we could all be living soon. Ball joints, axles, struts, shocks, suspension, anything suspension related, said Mike Lapete, the service manager at City Tire in Springfield. I'm not sure that's how he sounds, but I think that's how a guy who is talking about stuff like that would sound. You got your ball joints, your axles, your struts, your shocks, your suspensions, your wheels, your bearings, your lug nuts, your rims.
It's all ball bearings
It's
these
all
days.
ball joints down there. It can range from a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000, depending on the extent of the damage.
Apparently, Mark from West Springfield is now in charge of town fair.
No, this is Mike from Springfield. It's Mark's brother. Lives across the river.
I got you.
Talking about ball joints and shocks and struts. You know, that was a good song by Sheena Easton, that strut.
It sure was.
Yeah, she was a hot one back in the day.
Oh, I remember when she took that morning train.
Is she still alive?
Sheena Easton is still among us.
Is
as
she
far
really
as
still
I
alive?
believe
I didn't
she's-
even know Sheena Easton.
I mean, I can look it up if you want me to
When was
look
the
it
last
up.
time we did a Sheena Easton reference on this show?
Been a long time.
I like that song, Strut.
I used to like that song Sugar Walls. I always found that to be interesting.
Really?
Like, what is she talking about?
I liked Strut was my favorite.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. But the Sugar Walls, that's
All
a
right.
that's a Prince thing. Yeah, she is still around, and looks delicious at 65 years old.
It's Olivia Newton-John that passed away, right?
She is no longer with us.
Right.
Yes.
Man,
Sheena
I get
Easton.
those two beauties mixed up.
Right. Well, yeah, Olivia Newton-John was from Australia. Sheena Easton was from Scotland.
Yeah, that's where I get them mixed up.
Right. Well, they're like right next to each other.
Right. Your Pioneer, this was the dumbest newscast ever. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today going to be rainy today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high of 42. It's 38 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:49 and Rush with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
You know, it's get drunk and stumble around Holyoke season, and that's going to be kicking off even sooner than we think.
Literally right around the corner. It's the best time of the year. Whether it's the road race or the parade, you can guarantee a damn fine time in the city of Holyoke. In the studio with us right now, it's actually a wicked cool kickoff party for all of that. Is Johnny Driscoll and Jeff Walsh in the studio. Guys, good to see you.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for having us on.
You can put your mouth closer to that microphone.
I
there.
can.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't put it in your mouth.
Yeah, don't put it
okay,
in your
okay.
mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
yet.
got the Marshall Mania kickoff party coming this weekend, right?
Correct.
So tell us more about that.
Marshall Mania is an event Jeff decided to drum up about 5 years ago. Actually, 7 years ago. We had 2 years off with COVID. But 5 years ago, Jeff approached the parade committee with the great idea to have a U2 cover band kind of a kickoff to
Because
the parade.
they're Irish.
Because they're Irish.
I
Gotcha. Yeah, of course.
And Jeff has run with it. We started off at a 500-person venue to now we are up at the Log Cabin this Saturday,
Wow.
possibly selling 850 tickets.
850.
Real. That's
Wow.
what you've got so far? Or
Correct. Right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
So this is like it's a big kickoff. Like you said, Unforgettable Fire, which is a really, really good band. It's only like $20 per person, which is totally that's almost as reasonable as say like a comedy show and dinner at their shortstop.
yes, we took it from Steve Nagle's.
Yeah, well, see, I have a good business model going.
Yeah, we want to keep it cheap. We want the place packed. We've got some sponsors that have helped out with the money and the costs. Liberty Bank came through for us big time this year, and I like to keep the ticket prices at $20.
Yeah.
I just don't want to raise it. I think it probably was $10 when we started it, but I'm not going to go past 20. I think that's fair.
No, it is a fundraiser for the parade, which is not an inexpensive proposition to have a parade of that size every year. But just to have 850 people supporting it, and the parade's a couple weeks away. I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
It is.
Correct. The parade, I mean, people think it just goes down the street. There's a lot of fundraising. There's a lot of other events and so forth. We're just lucky to be part of it. The parade itself, I mean, we're a group of maybe 200 active members weekly meeting every Sunday to put down the world's greatest parade that we feel.
You guys meet weekly?
Weekly after
Really?
January.
Starting January 1st weekly, and then monthly after it ends, but weekly right through the parade.
So it's an all-year commitment to be part of this
completely.
thing. It's not. I think people, just automatically assume like, it's once a year. What do you got to plan like 3 or 4 months ahead of time? You're going all year long with these
12
things.
months.
12 months
Wow.
a year.
Wow.
It drives, families probably nuts that we're away a lot of the time. But, I mean, Jeff can attest. His wife last night was helping us out set up Marshall Mania. And, our families back us 100% to put down this parade and participate in all these other events and so forth throughout the year.
It is, as much as we make fun of the certain things that go on surrounding the parade, it really is an economic booster for this community. I mean, when we had COVID back in 2020 and the whole thing was canceled, I mean, you're talking about a lot of economic loss of local businesses throughout the area. So where's a lot of this money that you raise for this go to? For this
Everything we
event?
raise goes to put the parade on. But the parade itself, like you said, they've done economic impact studies, and it's huge on the area.
Millions
really
of
is.
dollars you're talking about.
Some of the bars I've heard in restaurants, 20% of their business for the year. It really kicks them off.
Yeah, it's crazy how much it really does impact the area.
So this isn't going like to a big kegger for the staff or anything like that, right?
As much as I would love it to, no, but definitely no. It just goes down to helping support the bands that are going down.
Because you guys can put on a real ripper if you really
we
want
could
to.
have a great party with this.
We definitely could.
Now, if we pack the house, can we have somebody maybe a little extra for pothole filling this year?
We'll have to talk to the mayor about that.
Might be.
Sure.
Might be.
I got him on speed dial if we need him. So.
But there's a lot of costs associated with this parade, and it comes down to DPW workers putting out traffic signs. It comes down to police officers doing traffic details and things like that. So what else is involved in where the funds go
The
to?
bands, the transportation, even for like the high school bands, everything costs money. The whole thing costs money. I think a lot of people think those bands and things like that are free. They're not. Everything has to be paid for. It's an enormous bill.
So you talk about like the millions of dollars that the parade itself draws, but over the last couple of decades, the road races embellished that whole weekend. Oh yeah. Even more so, you sometimes. I mean, I know how there's a benefit to it, but I would imagine the cost for the city of Holyoke just alone for those two events has got to be extraordinary.
Oh yeah,
I can't even imagine. I mean, it's a valiant effort. Like I said, there's the road race and there's the parade. We all come together. It's a fundraising effort. Jeff and I have no idea the money that we raise for this event. With this event this Saturday, we have no idea actually where it goes and so forth. We're bringing in the money, and then we just say, hey, we raise this.
And it all just gets paid out. Everything that gets paid out of the same kitty, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. But as far as the event this Saturday, log cabin, $20, unforgettable fire. They're providing food and stuff.
The cabin is doing food with log cabin rolling.
Sweet,
and which is awesome. And then we will be having Jeff and I have always prided ourselves. We also run a golf tournament in the fall. One of the things we pride ourselves on with our events is we have a huge raffle. This year we've got Yeti coolers. We have mini fridges. We have plenty of booze.
Big surprise, wheelbarrow full of spirits.
Booze.
Yeah.
At a parade?
Yes, I know.
Shocking.
Yes.
Booze. I never even heard of that.
Never
been associated with
never
St.
occurred to
Patrick's
me.
Day or a parade.
So lots of booze, lots of gift cards to local restaurants. We cannot thank the amount of support that we've received. We go into restaurants and we just basically pitch the idea of what we're having, and they just donate.
Now, how many blackout rage gallons does that cover for the city councilors? You just give them a jug they can walk with the entire parade route.
I would absolutely love to hand off one.
And maybe a porta potty instead of a dumpster behind a gas station.
Let's one step at a time here, Steve.
I'm asking for a little too much.
If someone wanted to buy tickets for this Saturday, what should they do?
So we currently have tickets available. We're still selling probably up until showtime. The Holyoke Parade Committee's website is hoyokeparadecommittee.com. Jeff and I, we have a flyer on our website with
It's under the events tab, and you'll see Marshall Mania, and it's got our contact info. So we've still got tickets to sell. We have Wyckoff Country Club set up as our shuttle parking lot once the cabin gets full. There's going to be shuttle buses running from there. And
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's going to be a good time.
And thanks, Liberty Bank, for helping us out.
Liberty Bank definitely helped us out.
Our
We'd
costs
like to give them a shout
skyrocketed,
out.
so we just wanted to say that.
Very cool. Jeff Walsh and Johnny Driscoll, great to see you guys. Best of luck this weekend.
Awesome.
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good to see you. It's 8:57 with Bax and Nagle on Rock.